Hi, and welcome to Elena Does Audio Stuff. Hey, today we're gonna make Melodic House. I will be using my own track Softer Light as an example. So this is what we will be making. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon. And also, if you are interested to create tracks from start to finish, remember I'm an Ableton certified trainer, and I have also on my website a course that shows you step by step how to create a track from start to finish in so much detail. And there's a discount code down below. Let's get started. What we will be starting with is finding about 8 to 16 beats, time selection. And then we're gonna put it in cycle so that we can start collecting all the sounds that we like into this area. I personally like starting with a sample in this instance. I'm creating 12 tracks this year, which means that I need to have a very fast workflow. For something like that, I need instant inspiration. So example, you can go to Splice or a PAX or something and find a loop that really inspires you. For Softer Light, I found a sample that is just piano chords in D minor. So I put the session in D minor. This is how it sounds like. Okay, just really airy, really spacey sounding chords. What you can do next is make it your own. We can resample it to be something that inspires us. We can take that there and we can maybe reverse it. In Melodic House, what I like is having some very simple chords or harmonic elements that happen momentarily. So example, these. It's a one chord, and then there's a silence. So everything kind of happens in transition. So all these chords, example in this sample, happen in the breakpoints of a bar. I usually like idea of combining two of these kind of elements. So next we can get a pad type of instrument. So example, I use Prophet. One very common instrument in Melodic House is Diva. Something like this. And what I'm meaning now is that example, we could have this one playing first, and then we are answering with another pad. And again. And it's just creating that very melodic conversation, question and answer. So what I used in Softer Light, I created these samples from a synth, and then I pitched them up and down and played with some of the elements of them to create really interesting sounds. Like a crackle. They're very textured. And they're slightly overlaying with the piano, but they continue the sound a bit like with the question answer method. That is nice. Number 2 is we're gonna move now for chords. We know it's D minor. We know we have a little bit of chord structure happening. Now we can build chords around it. I just added a piano into the track, which is upright piano. It's an Ableton Live pack. Here we go, upright piano. Then I added a clip. Let's make it 4 bars long. And I use the new Ableton Live 12 generative tools. So example, I can do stacks. And stacks allows me now to create chord progression in D minor. So I can have example C, start with D3. And I can go here and do a chord variation out of it. Beautiful. That is so cool. Duration, let's make it a little bit shorter. So on, and now we can add another one. And this could be example in F. We can do a chord variation of it. Oh, that sounds really cool. Personally, what I created using that technique is this. Let's listen together with the sounds we already had in the beginning. Adds already a little bit rhythm, but also creates a little bit of a motive. Dun, 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 dun. Motive is almost like a hooks inside of a track. So you can have several different motives inside of a track, but it's not the main hook necessarily. This video is sponsored by DistroKid. So as you might know, I am currently making 12 tracks this year, so track per month. I am making the track, I'm mixing it, mastering it, and then I'm just releasing it like this. And I'm doing this all with DistroKid. I do find it really, really useful because they have so many features that make it really easy to release music with them. So example, they have Promote Yourself tab. So we have MIDI videos that allow us to do little graphics for Instagram, because we all know how much content we need to constantly do when we are releasing music. So this makes it really easy. We have a meme generator, which means that we can generate really funny little videos.
Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
We have Visi Video Generator, which allows us to create music videos, and we also have promo cards because Instagram. And it creates these really cool, I like that actually with that, really, really cool graphics to share on our Instagram. DistroKid is kind to give all my followers -7% off for your first subscription. Go to the link down below to get that discount. And let's get continuing with this tutorial. Okay. Number 3, one of the most important things in Melodic House, which you can hear almost in any Melodic House track you go and listen to, is Arpeggiated Synth. There is a couple ways that you can approach this. Personally, I usually use, again, Diva or other instrument like wavetable, sustain, and then just arpeggiator. And usually quite commonly, if you have it 1/8, it's quite slow. So just put maybe 1/16. And it adds that rhythm and movement into the track. It just adds that little bit of more energy into it. Alternatively, you can do the same thing here. MIDI, FX, arpeggiator, and then here 16 rate. I like putting release a little bit more. And I don't want it to be as sharp, so maybe make it rounder. So these are very common techniques, but in this one I used actually a different technique because I came across this sample that was Arpeggiated Synth. But it didn't really fit perfectly for me. So I just used it as an inspiration and came up with this. On the top of it, I added some saturation automation, crystalline, auto filter for movement, sidechain compression, and some EQ. So then we have pads, and personally pads are very important for me. So already in this file we have these melodic sequences going on. And for some of you it might be enough, but personally I like something that is really big and wide and atmospheric and quite ethereal, like vibey, like smooth. something I love using pads for is wavetable. So I created this sound using just basic shapes and one oscillator, and then I added chords saw. Then we have a filter, and then I also added the sub oscillator tone. You can see that the amp envelope is very long. So I kind of brought the decay all the way up. Attack is slightly slow. Very like high and shiny, like a stark skies. Also, to make it a little bit more wider, I have added utility with width. But when you add width with utility, you need to be very careful because phasing issues are a real thing. So it just means that it cancels it out. When it's in mono, you can't hear the synth. So make sure that there's no issue with that. Another thing, tip is you add in unison if you use wavetable for your pads. I like shimmer or noise or classic. So without it, it sounds like this. Yeah, boring. But with some shimmer, beautiful. Or noise. It just opens it up. Which chords you're going to use. So what you can do is copy paste the piano ones that we did, add them here to here, and then you can just extend all the notes to be a lot longer. So I used that technique and created these pads. And also what you can see in these MIDI notes is that I'm growing the pattern when it kind of goes forward. So there's a certain like a melodic growth. So you can see that this high note here is happening later on in the chorus. You can hear the saturation growing. And then high note hits. So it just grows the tension, grows the energy. And that's what we want with pads. We want them to be supportive act of the sound to grow everything out. Next, we need to add a bass. And what kind of bass you ask? So usually in Melodic House, you can go two ways. One is a plucky, very bunch bass that is quite like just supporting the drums and supporting all the rhythmic elements. So very plum, 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 plum. Or we have a very sustained bass, which means that it's very long bass. But we create rhythm to it with sidechain. I added both of those basses to my track. So in the choruses and verses, we have a plucky bass, and in the bridge I have a very sustained bass. So synth plug bass I've added here. It's with wavetable. Sounds like this. It's quite easy sound to create because what you just need to do is take the decay down a bit and bring the release, making it a little bit shorter, and then find a nice sound from the oscillators. So it's very easy sound design to create. But there is plenty of great also presets for this if you want to just have a fast workflow. Because I need to make tracks so fast this year, I am always saying that there's nothing wrong with using presets or samples. They are there to be used. So personally, I like using them. If I know what I want, then if that already exists somewhere as a sample or preset, why in earth would I use time to create one by myself if I can already use something that I know I want that kind of sound? There it is, I can use that. So here, example, I use this Ableton Live preset, synth plug bass, and it's exactly what I wanted. To create that, you can do exactly the same as we did before. We can copy paste the piano chords, take them to the bass, and we can just use the lowest notes as a guideline for a bass line. Because now you can hear that it's all sustained, but how can we make it more plucky? You can go MIDI FX, Arpeggiator. So you can hear it's already happening. But what if we don't want it to be in straight? We want it to be in bam, 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 which is more house rhythm. We can go to rate and make it 112. or 1/6, and then go to groove and make it swing. Din, 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 din. Dun, 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 dun. Perfect for house beat. Personally, I played the whole thing by myself so that I can add some more live to it. So I added so that there's a velocity, and also added some humanize to the note. And it's quite lower. It's pretty good groove. Also, I have roar in there. Roar is great to add some texture and some more saturation. And then we have a sidechain compression. I literally sidechain everything. Talking about the other one, we have the sustain bass. And this is for the bridge. And it's the same bass that we used on here. So I used exactly the same bass, but I just made it more sustained. So I opened the preset up, went into where the wavetable is, and I made just decay all the way up in the envelope, and then made the release very long. In some melodic house tracks, personally, I have used the whole track is just this kind of bass, sustained bass with sidechain compression. That's absolutely fine. You don't need to have a different type of. There's no right or wrong in creativity. Okay, how do I approach adding vocals? Personally, I like very moody, very slow, very ethereal vocals. So you might want something that is a bit more uplifting. So I don't know if that was uplifting, but you can add something that is obviously you can do your own vocals or go to Splice to get some samples. But personally, I like it really smooth. So what I did here is I created the vocals. That is a one phrase. It means that it's just one sentence or couple sentences of lyrics. And then I copy paste the same one in verse 1 and verse 2. So it repeats the same thing. Because as soon as I started to add too much lyrics, it becomes very poppy and it's not melodic house anymore. Burn it on fire. Burn it on fire is my lyric. Until you're tired and you are ready. Until you're tired and you are ready. For a softer light. For a softer light. So what I like doing with my lyrics in house tracks like this is that it's like a statement. Give advice or give a perspective or set a mood. So for me, example, this was inspired by Finnish Midsummer. It's about bonfires and burning whatever is your old past and just burn it on fire until you're tired. So until you're just letting everything go, until you're ready for a softer light, until you're ready for something new and better and softer and kinder. And then this is the hook. For a softer light. So light, you can hear that repeating many times in the choruses. Light, ta, 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 light. You probably want to see my vocal chain. So I have Butch Week's vocals, auto-tune. It's on tune, but I just like the sound that it adds. Crystalline and Comeback Kid. On the top of that, I added some vocal layers. When I pitch it up, it just made it sound great. And then I just added some Comeback Kid for a very long, sustained feedback. Light. So it's just octave higher. Light. Okay, couple more vocal things. And this is very my taste. So it might be again too chill, too ethereal for you if you don't want to make a chill house, melodic house track. But I like vocal pads. So again, I have the same things. I have pitch fix vocals, auto-tune, spaced out, which is great for any kind of pad. If you are in Ableton Live and you don't have the plugins, you can use delays, echo, reverbs to create similar type of thing. Okay, next we're gonna create this long vocal pad. And the point of this is to create this repetition, sustained sound that creates a very harmonic element to it. And I usually use vocals to create it. And how do I do that? I use one of these pad sounds. So let's create an audio track, and I'm gonna take one element, one little clip out of here. So copy paste that, put that here. Okay, I'm gonna use Ableton Live own plugins to show how to make this. I could add example reverb, and let's make it very long. Long decay. These are the stuff that I just talked about. We can have echo. And let's add phaser, flanger. Ooh. Okay, and now what we will do is very simple. We will take this and freeze and flatten the track. This means that it will freeze it in time and it will convert it into an audio track. Now we're going to take one part of it. Example, that part there. Let's go here somewhere. That one there, maybe. And we're going to cut that and we're going to loop this. So I'm just going to make sure that the sample is correct size. And then click loop. And we have now this cool sounding sample. That is one note. Now what I did do is the same technique, and I created this. This is created with the same technique. It's just one note. That will create a lot of space. You can layer it if you want. You can create very big space with it. By the way, as an extra tip, this that we just converted, you can reverse that. It creates a really cool lift. Ooh, so you can use that in transitions or something to create really cool, so vocal pad lift. Very cool. After that, I created a vocal chop. So I took the vocals, added them to Simpler, and I needed a hook for my tracks. So I put a slice mode. I have a very good tutorial on Simpler if you want to learn this more. And then I found some cool samples and created like a motive out of it, which would become the hook of the whole track. With some crystalline. Very nice hook. Catchy. Oh, it goes down in the second time. Okay, next we have beats. I have a collection of my own drum samples that I like using. Kick is really important. So they're quite punchy, quite like pow, pow, pow. This has a lot more color to it. Example than this. But this is the sound that I usually personally like. If you are not 100% sure of what kind of kicks or hi-hats or something you would like to use for your melodic house track, I recommend going to places like Splice. But if you want to design your own, it's okay still to come here and just see what kind of sounds are really your genre. So example, go like melodic house kick. They all have that higher click, but the same thing with hi-hats and everything. So let's create the beat. So I actually have on my website, I'm gonna link it down below, I have a MIDI guide on how to create patterns in 16 different genres. So you can go and download that from my website. So personally, what I like doing is adding kick first. So we have 4 on the floor kick. And then we're going to have open hi-hats on the every third of the bar. That's the basics. Now we're going to add closed hi-hats around the open one. We can just copy paste. Now we can create variations if we want to. 130. And we can create little variations on the open, the closed hi-hats. To add some rhythm, you can just play with the open hi-hats. After that, we can add a snare or clap or something on every second. So example, hand clap there. Oh, no. Snares, claps, any kind of percussion you can add here. Velocity changes. So example, with the closed hi-hats, I'm going to go here, select them all from here. And now I'm just going to go and make that a little bit less, but randomize the velocity. Also, I can go here and humanize them a little bit. So let's put maybe 23% humanize. To add some more like swing to it. Personally, after this, I like adding a lot of bongos or percussion. I want some kind of rhythmic element happening. Okay, I think I found a sample with bongos. And again, you can see sidechain compression here. I have a very good tutorial on how to sidechain compression. If you don't understand or compression, I have so many tutorials on these topics. Okay, this is again something that I personally like adding, is a little bit like a melodic percussion. So this is a little fun technique. So I took the same bongos and put them on another track. In there, I added spectral resonator. It's an Ableton Live device from Audio FX, spectral resonator. And I'm going to go, instead of intro, I'm going to go MIDI. Okay. And I duplicated the piano that we created in the beginning. Remember this one? Okay. I duplicated that into a track called Ghost Piano. And why is it a ghost? It's exactly the same track, but why is it ghost? It's because it's muted. Okay, so now I'm sidechaining it, the spectral resonator, into the ghost piano. And see what happened, the bongos that I just used spectral resonator to sidechain into ghost piano. Aha, cool. But percussion, such a good. Okay, next is arrangement. Okay, I'm taking a track that is my own or a track that I admire. I drag and drop it. So example, Nora En Pure, love the other side. And what I do to inspire me a arrangement, I analyze the arrangement and put these markers here. And with the markers, I put, okay, this is the intro of the extended version. Here's the first chorus. This is the bridge of the track. And now what I do, I just copy paste whatever was in that first clip that we created all the sounds together. I just go and arrange everything into, okay, chorus, it could be these, in the bridge, it could be this. It's just so fast way to organize everything. Perfect. And that's how we have our track. The last point, 10, is to add lifts and raisers and swells. So there's a couple ways to do that. You can create them by yourself. I have a tutorial on how to create them. Or you can go into, again, Splice and find different ones. Again, it's one of those arguments is that if you If you don't have much time, go and get them if they're already made, because in Swells there's full of white noise lifts and all that, and it all kind of sounds similar, but otherwise you can create them by yourself. So example, I have created a really cool white noise lift using Meld. In here, I added some MIDI notes that are really long and they kind of grow in notes in the scale. So we have 1 C, then we have octave higher and octave higher. Okay, and it sounds like this. So in Meld, you have an option to have an oscillator that creates rain sound. It's really cool, white noisy rain. And then we also have a filter noise with phaser flanger and sidechain compression, and this is how it sounds. That is so cool. So that adds movement, tension, and everything to like end of the choruses. So we're like having the energy, like end of the chorus, yeah, moment. I have these ones are from Splice. So they're just these like little transitions between example chorus and the drop, or verse and chorus and the bridge. And they're just literal sounds like this. Or like this. Just a little swoop. Sounds great. Another one is, we already did this. I noticed how I already showed you how to do this. We took a voice sample, we added a lot of effects, we freeze and flatten it, we reversed it, and it becomes a voice lift. And this is how I used it in my track. Together with the voice noise lift, in the end of the choruses, I have my voice lift and the white noise lift. Adding tension, adding momentum. Perfect. I have a lot of automation happening, as you can see. So I would say that that's the one thing that I did not show in very much in detail, is that I use a lot and lots of time to automate things. Hey, I have plenty of similar type of tutorials, example, how to make techno, how to make house, how to make electropop. All of them are here or here. If you also want to create more tracks and you want to finish more tracks, please join my Patreon, because I do monthly challenges there and I give accountability and help to everybody to create more tracks. So join me in my Patreon. See you later and subscribe, and bye.